Thanks for tuning into GB Podcasting.
I'm Cody.
And I'm Brandon.
All right.
Let's get it. And 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
And
Feeling a
great
lot better.
job, not to cut you off, on the little jingle there.
I like the jingle.
I hope everybody likes our little jingle. Cody and I made that up. Spur of the moment right before we sat down. So,
Tell us what you think about that.
yeah.
If it sucks, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Anyways, goals.
Goals, man.
My goal of today is to hit this podcast on the head.
Yeah, I hope I
Correctly.
can really get the point across that I guess I'm trying to get across with goals.
Right. We've been struggling a little with where we want to go with it. But to start off, around the topic of goals, how that came up exactly, me and Cody are trying to set some personal goals, I guess you would say, for the change of season, I guess is what honestly kind of kick-started it. It was our little spark. As far as like physically getting in shape. And then of course I don't know what it is about goals, but you set one and you start making a little headway on it and you're like, wow, I can do a couple of these.
Yeah, and
Really make some ground.
for the last 6 months, we've both been working on some physical fixes and some mental broadening.
Yeah.
So naturally, we're kind of getting grounded and getting seated in our ability to make these changes. So now it's like, let's take it to the next level. Let's put a point we're trying to aim towards.
Absolutely. A direction.
Yeah.
Get some direction to our
Yeah.
life. Because that's always
Yeah, our goals, I just did it air quotes.
air quotes.
But our goals are more of a direction rather than a defined goal. They're fairly broad.
Right.
So to give you an example, my goal before May 10th is that I want to regulate eating habits
Mhm.
and hit the gym hard enough to gain healthy muscle mass and gain weight.
Right.
So I don't have a set weight that I want to be by May 10th, but I want my eating habits to be more structured. I want to have hit the gym right and gotten much stronger and gain muscle mass, and I want to be heavier. And some people might have some critique of that and say, well, it's super hard for you to define success in that if you don't have a defined number. But that's not the point.
Well,
The point behind it is that if I can set these healthy habits, I will be moving towards gaining to I have a relative number of a weight that I want to be. I just don't have a time restraint on it. I have no reason to set a time restraint on it, and I want to do it the right way. So I'm setting healthy goals.
right. And you're not out here looking to be 185
No.
of solid muscle. No, I'd like to be heavier than I am currently, and I don't want it to be fat.
Yeah.
Put it that way. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very broad, but yet it's scoped.
Yeah.
So it's broad scoped.
Hey.
But yeah, it's the way you want to tackle everything. And we'll kind of talk about that a little later on. We're first going to kind of talk into the mishaps, maybe end on a lighter note. But we are going to start by kind of harping on what everybody treats goals to be.
The New Year's resolution of goal
Bingo.
setting.
Right. And there's honestly not a better way to put it because that is the prime time to watch people set goals and fall flat on their face
Oh yeah.
in a very short amount of time. Like
Yeah.
and what it is, I mean, I don't know what it is. I guess it's just a nice round number where everybody's restarting and trying new things. So it's just hop on the bandwagon.
It's a new year, and it's this stupid tradition that
It's motivation,
It is.
not drive.
It is. It's motivation, not drive. Those are two very different things. For those of
Enlighten
you.
us, Cody. What's
So-
motivation, bro?
Motivation is your Band-Aid fix for a very big problem. So if I got a 20-minute little hype up, then if something bad goes down an hour later, that's evaporated.
Yeah.
Whereas if I found something, a purpose, say I want to lift 100 pounds 100 times and I'm raising money for charity, I'm going to after my second month of training I can only lift 100 pounds 50 times, I'm not gonna want to quit because I can pull back to, you know what, I'm trying to succeed at this for a charitable event. I need to buckle down, figure out why I'm not succeeding the way I want to succeed, and figure it out. That is the difference in motivation and drive.
Right.
A driver builds passion and it builds mental endurance, whereas a motivator gives us a false sense of hope.
Right. And not useless.
No,
Not
not
useless.
useless. Motivators are good to find drive.
Right. They're a spark.
But-
I think is what I told you earlier.
Oh yeah, they I liked that analogy for
Yeah,
that actually.
if it's the spark you need to light the fire, to light your drive and set it in motion and tackle everything that you want to tackle on your journey, then use the shit out of it by all means. But if you think that you can just find a 15-minute video that gets you pumped and put that thing on repeat in the background of your head for your entire life and that's going to give you drive, it's not going to happen. It's so much more than that. It's not an emotion based off of something like that. That's motivation for me. Emotion based off of somebody else speaking or doing something. That's not what we're after here. We're after this little energy source that's somewhere embedded behind my heart that just keeps me going.
It's a,
And it's fueled by purpose, like you said.
sparks are great to start fires.
Yeah.
They're not very good at keeping them going. So your drive is your fuel source. Motivation's your spark. Drive's your fuel source.
Bingo.
Fuel the jet. Fuel the jet.
Perfect analogy.
I know.
Go Transformers.
Go Transformers. Shia LaBeouf coming in clutch.
So, what else? What about goals? The downside. I think the numbers and the time and the fact that we've hit that so many people allow these goals to define them and to define their situation, and that's not what they're used for. And yes, goals are something that need to be measurable, but not for the reason to measure yourself compared to somebody else or just to measure yourself. Where were you a month ago and where are you now? That goal was nothing but a heading to point you in a direction.
direction.
And what you do, how you do it, how often you do it, or consistency rather, the drive that you have powering you to do that, all of these things matter where you end up on that, heading that you've got.
And time and numerical data, all of those things are not in game for your goal. They're your ability to measure accountability.
Right.
And I think we've talked about that a lot here, me and you, and
We're just
today.
chomping at the bit to talk about
Yeah,
accountability.
but it comes out like that's as soon as you said using numbers and timelines to define yourself. That's the point. They don't define you.
They hold you accountable.
They hold you accountable.
Right.
And we lose sight of that. We put so much pressure into meeting this timeline or meeting this number that we lose sight that that's a driver. That's an accountability factor to tell me that if I haven't met it, that I'm not living up to my standards and I need to change my scope.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a pass or fail. That's a necessary reminder, a backstop to let you know I'm not on course. What do I need to change to get back on course? Backstops are important.
Yeah.
They're there to remind you that you've strayed off course, but they do not define pass or fail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something important to remember when setting goals. I'm not telling you to not have any time restraints like for us as May 10th,
Right.
but I also broaden my scope of goal to fit that kind of a nature of goal setting.
Completely. It was
And
perfectly applicable to the situation, so
Mhm.
therefore put a timestamp on it. It's needed.
That holds me accountable to trying to. If I know
Right.
in April I've gained 0 weight, I have not held myself accountable to what I need to do, and I need to start.
Right. But
Start
that
getting
doesn't
on
mean
track.
that you're not ever going to lose weight ever. It doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean, well, it kind of means you failed, but not in
means
the
you're-
grand scheme
It
of
means you're
things.
failing.
Right.
It does not mean you have failed. That's why
Okay.
time gives you time to change.
Mhm.
And me and you talked about that with education a lot, that if halfway through a semester you've got like an F, A lot of times school structure doesn't give you the time to really come back with a passing grade, even if you 100 out on all of your assignments, which is
Right.
not feasible. Yeah, a lot of times you can't bring that back. And, you know, why should we punish for someone for recognizing a mistake and correcting it? So that's the point behind putting times or a number setting on your
Right.
goals.
How they could negatively affect what you're trying to accomplish overall.
As a constant reminder of, hey, I might not be doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
Something cool that I saw the other day while we're on the subject of accountability, and I'm totally fine to move forward, but
Yeah, let's do it.
something cool that I saw the other day is I'm listening to get David Goggins' book.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend.
Dude, this man. So all that I knew about David Goggins going into this book was what I had seen of him and Joe. I knew him and Cameron Haynes.
Right.
He's very eccentric. He's kind of a nut because his mindset is pretty wild. I mean, he's an ultra athlete. For those of you who have no idea who David Goggins is, he is, you know, he's an ex-Navy SEAL turned ultra athlete, and like this man does like over 100-mile run races, like
Right.
super long triathlons, and so he's an insane specimen as far as mental toughness. And so his book is about how to unlock mental toughness for yourself. And one of his whole chapters stems around the point of accountability. And he talks about in his life when he got reeled down as far as starting to fail. One day he got into his bathroom and was going to shave his head. He was a teenager. And he got in his bathroom, he was going to shave his head and stop being just so ragged. And as he was doing it, he stared himself in the mirror and just chewed his ass out loud. And from then on, through his adult life, that is referred to him as his accountability mirror.
Mm-hmm.
He'll pin or he'll post sticky notes to his mirror with objectives he needs to meet goals. And every day when he looks into that mirror, that accountability staring back at him. And you cannot run from yourself as you're looking at yourself in a mirror. And that's a really cool concept for how to hold yourself accountable. You know, not everybody needs that level of intensity for themselves because some people have differences in drives.
Right. And some people need that and then more.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
if that's something that you need, like that's an awesome tool. That was just
Absolutely.
something that I was super intrigued about. There are aspects of my life with goals that I don't need that kind of stuff. And there are goals that I look at where I do need a little bit more of that drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a useful tool to
Yeah.
find it.
things that don't necessarily make their way to the front of your mind very often, but you wish that, you know, maybe you did stay. Because for me, that's the biggest thing with accountability is certain things that I would love to, you know, like, hell, you could pick anything. Like, I really want to do better about that, but I just constantly forget about it. Like biting my nails. That is hands down and maybe my only downfall.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right. But like something as simple as just biting my nails, like I don't even realize I'm doing it until it's already like I'm already chewing on part of it and I'm like, damn, I got to quit that. But
Then you forget about it 2 minutes
right,
later.
and then so it's just over and over. But obviously sticky notes wouldn't work. Maybe it would help a little bit, but something to make me more conscious of everything that's going on, which takes us to step number 1 as far as if you want to step it out. But Cody and I were trying to think of a way to describe how to properly set up goals. And
As far as what we know, this is how we would set up big time goals.
right. There are a set of circumstances I feel like that must be met if you're gonna set goals.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, you're
You're
not
shooting in the
doing
dark.
it. Yeah,
Your
you're
New
not
Year's
doing it properly.
resolution and the shit out of it, and that's just not the right way to set it. I
Not
can't
the
tell
way.
you that these steps will allow you to meet any goal you set, but I can tell you they'll put you in the right direction.
Absolutely,
The
and you
rest
just
is
put a
up to you.
verb on it. New Year's and the shit out of it.
Yeah,
That's-
New Year's resolution is now a verb.
Okay, so first and foremost, be informed. As informed as you can be before making a goal. You know, that could be as simple as identifying what you don't know and what you do know. I mean, by no means am I saying if you want to be able to run your mile faster, you need to go do a year's worth of study from the University of Akron, Ohio on how to run faster. You know, there's
But but take the time to, say, okay, find out some information on what it takes to be a faster runner. What are the best what are the best training methods to gain speed in running times? Things like that.
Right.
That you can take it from there for setting a goal and a timeline for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As far as how long your training period is going to be to try to meet this goal, or things like that. Like, that's important.
Yeah, and know where you're at as an individual. Don't say I want to run a 7-minute mile, and you go run a mile after setting that goal, and you're like, shit, I'm at 9.5 minutes.
And the reason why this is so important is because 9 times out of 10, the reason people stop working towards their goals is because they can't figure out how to start. Starting it is harder than they thought, and they just never get around to formulating the way they want to think about it. So
Right.
if you set a goal around figuring out what it takes to kind of meet it, then you already got your step in the right direction because
Yeah.
you've already started the process. The hardest part is already over with.
Yeah.
You've started.
Now
And-
just do what the goal is.
And
Let the goal do what it's
that's
supposed
a
to do.
significant jump that you need to set big time goals.
Right. Completely agree.
What would you say is the next thing that would be really important?
The next thing is for me is identifying. So first step, getting knowledge
What you know, what you don't know.
right on everything, like what you're getting ready to get into. Second thing is kind of what you just said. Do it. I'm not going to set myself a goal. Say I'm trying to lose, just for sake of purposes, say I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. If I set myself a goal for, okay, in a month I want to be 10 pounds lighter, I don't really like doing that because it's a waste of time as far as I don't know what I'm going to get. How about I eat right and work out like I would if I was doing that goal for, say, a week and see what happens? Or, fitting to the scenario.
Set a baseline.
Right,
Boom,
and it is the baseline. That's
that
what
needs
we're
to be
talking
your
about.
next step.
Find your baseline. And from there, once you build, you were talking about it earlier today at the gym about how squatting has felt so good lately. And it's because we went all the way back. And I don't care how many people looked at us funny, how many people were laughing at us, or whatever it may have been. We started at the bare minimum and built that foundation of proper mechanics with, without all the fancy 150 pounds hanging off our back and this and that. Like we broke it down to the baseline of mobility and function, and with that strong base, sky's the limit
It's
now.
been much better to build
Yeah.
on. And that's so step 1, figure out what you know, what you don't know. Step 2, find your baseline.
Find your baseline.
That is you can't grow if you don't know where you're at.
No.
It goes back to just the beginning. The hardest thing is starting. Well, how do you set a proper goal if I have no idea what my starting point is? And some people say, well, I know I'm 250 pounds. Okay, but your goal is not inherently an end weight. It is to lose a certain amount of
No,
pounds.
it's a direction.
So if you have no idea what your weight loss ability is, then you have no idea how to set a goal. You have to find your baseline for what weight loss means to you.
Right.
So yeah, say you spend a week eating right and exercising right, say you lose.
The most you can lose is 5 pounds in a week.
Do
If you-
not set your goal in a month to lose 40 pounds.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. It's not happening. Then you're hurting yourself. That's poor time management. You spend all this time aiming for something that you know is very unlikely for you to meet, and then you don't meet it, and then
And to me, that is your next step. After you set your baseline, it is figuring out your time management. I think if you're going to have a goal for anything, whether it's professional or physical or mental, anything, it is you need to break down your schedule and figure out when you put time strictly devoted to that goal.
okay,
Because I need that focus.
right, and I agree with that.
Goal you need to have that time carved out to only focus on that thing. If you're working it in, say, I can't think of an analogy to make that work, but like say I'm trying to learn a foreign language, so I'm listening to Rosetta Stone while I'm sitting at my computer at work working. Will I learn it? Maybe, but that's not a good way of doing it.
No.
You need to carve out some time to focus on that goal. And the first way to do that is to figure out where it fits for you.
Right, and to me, I agree with the mentality and the overall purpose for that third step there. But if I could just simply put it, I would say Step number 3, any goal that you set, hold yourself accountable. If you fail, if you succeed, say it's a month-long goal, if you succeed in a week, you're still holding yourself accountable to do what you were doing for that,
For that
you know what I'm
month.
saying?
For that month.
Allow it to almost control. Better yet, if you do it, if you hold yourself accountable to it and you do it, even if you don't meet your goal, you still learn from the experience. Say whoever didn't meet their 40-pound in a month mark, but they learned that they could lose 5 pounds a week and lost 20 pounds in that month. Shit, all he's got to do is just go another month, and boom, he's where he wants to be.
Yeah.
That's not a failure. He was failing at the time, kind of like you were saying, currently failing, but guess what? He was smart enough to realize, why did I fail? Oh, this is why I failed. Well, now I know what to do.
Agreed. Yeah. Stay accountable, stay objective. And to go back, the reason that I think that for large scale goals, time management becomes such an important thing, and why I would put it on this list is that if you've never formulated a way to fit it into your schedule, where do you hold that accountability? Like that is a significant portion that you could say, I'm not holding myself accountable to meeting where I said I would fit this into my day. And again, there are circumstances that are going to change that. Say you get a call that you got to pick your kids up from school, and that's your time to work in your Rosetta Stone time.
Right, yeah. Life
Cool.
happens.
Pick
Shit
up your
happens.
kids, but then maybe later on that evening, instead of watching an hour of TV, it's like,
Right.
well, I missed my time to do my thing, so I need to work this into this evening.
Right. And that speaks to me just like you talking about how you're willing to put up a half-assed podcast that we record. Why? Because it's holding us accountable. If somebody hears that and puts it back up or responds to it and says, hey, that was garbage, then guess what? We now know that we did not handle things appropriately to get the job done. And that's my thing behind allowing goals to do only or to only hold you accountable. Because if you allow them to hold you accountable every time, if trial 1 you have shitty time management and trial 10 you have shitty time management, eventually you're either going to break and you're just going to give up on it all, or you will eventually find out how to make time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's the amazing thing of it, is just everything that we talk about, it seems like, but especially this, is
Circles
just,
back.
am I telling you to not have any goals or no direction in life? No, not at all. But at the same time, you're not going to know unless you do it.
And
Get
you-
out there and stay hungry, stay driven, use any kind of motivation you need when needed, but stay moving.
Be out there, set goals, aim to smash them, because that's what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
But do not let it define you as a person.
No,
If
because you're more than a goal.
if you fail at a goal but you're on the right track, then the lesson I learned from that is that you either failed at accountability or
Or execution.
or you failed at setting the right goals.
Bingo.
Which is completely a possibility that you do need to take into account when you're looking at, after you fail at something, the first thing we do is play it all back in our head. So if you failed at a goal you were trying to meet and you're doing that playback, look at those things. Look at your accountability. Did you stay on track? Did you do what you said you were going to do in the first place? Cool. Look at your execution. Was the plan you set forth the right plan to meet that goal? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it didn't fit your body type well. Maybe, it just wasn't what was going to work for you. And the third thing is, did I set my goals correctly? Did I follow a baseline and set myself up for success from the get-go? I'm not telling you not to push yourself, but again, happiness is expectation versus reality. So, there's a fine line that you got to walk between push and an outside of a reality scope. Walk it, push yourself, but don't forget what is relative to what you can do.
Completely.
And
Well, that's the only way you can properly push yourself
Yeah.
without
agreed.
hitting the point of
Or
tearing
getting-
yourself down.
Or getting hurt.
Right.
And so you have to do things that are risky in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And I'm
Crazy, but safe.
I'm the captain of crazy but safe.
For anybody, just FYI, my little brother used to give Bobby Cody this nickname whenever he was real little. Crazy, but safe.
We used to do some wild things, but man, safety was always on the forefront of my brain, and I got that from Jeremy.
And they come hand in hand.
They do though. You can do wildly outrageous things that people would tell you to never do if you put the right safety factors into place.
Completely.
Does it still hold an inherent risk where it can go wrong? Yes.
Right.
But your likelihoods for success without anything going tragic go up exponentially.
Yeah.
And that's the same way with goal setting. Be crazy, but be safe.
But don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, seriously, as a reoccurring problem as it is, it's a shame that it's not been fixed, because most people look back at what we were just talking about and they, kind of like what you hit on, they don't check everything. They just fail and they go, well, damn, I didn't meet standards. Well, who's to say you just didn't set a poor goal based on where you're at baseline right now? It's the weight loss is the easiest thing just because everybody's familiar with it. If you are over and over and over again trying to find a way to lose weight and get to a level of fitness that you're happy with, the thing that kills me is that people will attempt and fail because they set, this woman's upset because she's only lost 7 pounds in 3 months of working her ass off, and she was supposed to already lose 35. So they take it as, I'm just not going to lose weight. It's just not meant to happen. And then they flutter back out, go back to what they were doing, and they go back to the weight they were originally at, more than likely.
And then it's up and down and up and down.
And it's
you
just back and forth based on whenever they get motivation.
Yeah, you spend your whole life dieting and working out really hard, and then going back to
Right.
a lifestyle, then dieting and working out
There's
really
no
hard.
need for that.
No, and that
You did great for 3 months losing. You were headed in the right direction.
Oh yeah, and we all know people like that. Like everyone knows people like that.
Absolutely.
My dad's done that multiple times. Your mom's done that multiple times. Your dad's done that multiple times. Like we all know people that have done that.
Right.
They go up and down, and they do really well, but they're not quite to what their brain expects them to be at, and it's like, well, I'm just not doing this right.
Right.
And that sucks.
And I'm not saying you're not ever going to come up on things in life that they're just going to beat you. Like, life sucks in some instances like that. Like, I think the other day I was trying to tell you, or you said that I'm never going to be able to dunk a basketball. The chances of that are very, very, very unlikely. Still possible, but very, very, very unlikely. So don't set a goal, hey, by 2 months from now I want to be able to dunk a basketball. Like,
And I'm going to train on only vertical jump training.
No, stop it.
Because guess what? I could one day get to where I could jump and feasibly get my wrist above a rim. I can't palm a basketball. That's not changing. I'm sorry. I could get my vertical to be where I could grab the top of the backboard. I still couldn't dunk a freaking basketball because I can't hold on to the damn thing.
You got 2 hands, homie?
Yeah, if you can get me to where I can two-hand yam, dude, I'm a monster at jumping. There are people out there that are my
Sorry,
height.
everybody listening. We'll be back. We're going to go teach Cody how to dunk.
But, the premise of that, though, is very sound.
Yeah.
Don't set yourself up for failure. I would never set
I
out
just
to try to
constantly
dunk.
hate to see people give up and roll over just because they weren't meeting the expectations that they themselves
Yeah.
set, when in reality, if they just overlook that, they're making strides of their own in the right direction.
In the right
So,
direction. That's important. Like, do not let yourself succumb to a failure and forget the small victories. It's very easy to do because our minds naturally go to the negative. We do not steer towards the positives.
Yeah.
But don't forget your small victories. Your small victories are what you build on to have great successes.
Yeah.
And I mean it doesn't matter if you lost 7 pounds over the course of 3 months, but then 2 months from now you're trying to get trying to move up at work. Don't forget that over that 3 months you didn't quit and you kept grinding it out and you still lost 7 pounds. Those little small victories can drive you over here in your professional world. It's David Goggins again. Puts it as his cookie jar. When everything's got real fucking rough in a 100-mile run, he would go into his cookie jar. Of all the shit he's overcome, it was like all these things he'd overcome. And when he was just ready to give up, he'd get a cookie. and think about something he'd overcome, and that would
That's
push
smart.
him, even if it was 1 mile further before he needed to go back into that cookie jar.
And that's all it takes.
Then you're chopping away at stuff,
Yeah.
though. That's what it takes. Time and pressure, man. Going back to those jiu-jitsu terms, but time and pressure conquers all. It does. You'd be
I
surprised what time and pressure can do to
completely
anything.
agree.
But
Before we get out of here,
Yeah.
we're still hitting this. We wanted to discuss a goal. Use the podcast to hold us accountable.
do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Doesn't matter.
Uh,
Okay. So
I've been rambling for a while, so I want you to go first.
okay, I'll start us. I know you got something scheming over there for yours, but mine's going to be a little more personal, and it's going to be. I wouldn't say completely personal because there are other factors into this, and that the other factors are you, and the other factors are everyone listening to my voice at the moment. And mine is going to be figuring out the direction, the overall goal of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, I think we had a lot of different meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when you set out and set a goal for whatever you're doing, and you think you know what you're after.
But it changes.
And then
over
you
time.
realize the more I do this and the more I actually know about what it is I'm doing, some things kind of lose value and other things kind of pick up
Yeah.
value. And those are only things that you know by doing it.
Yeah.
So these are whatever goal I come to whenever this is over with, whenever we're getting back on these mics and talking about how we've done meeting them, it's not going to be something that's been in my head from the start. This is going to be something that is formulated. I mean, there's a chance that there may be some overlap, but I'm formulating this off of kind of like what we were talking about, the baseline. We've done 13 episodes now.
This is our baseline.
We see what we're getting out of it.
Yeah.
We're seeing what everybody else is getting out of it, and I really want to use that to find out, okay,
to build smart goals.
feasibly, what can we do with this podcast?
Yeah.
Because if I set out and say, I'm happy, we're as far as we're ever going to get. That's a joke. You
what
know,
pushes growth from
there
that?
there is no growth to that. That's complacency, and
It's the death of greatness.
that's going to kill our great podcast. I didn't know how to word that, but so that's going to be my goal. Objectively, how I'm going to do it, I don't know. But
That's
May
okay.
10th,
That's part of
when
it.
we sit down, I'll worry. You know, I'll be where I say I'm going to be. That is my demon to conquer. But that's something that moving forward, I want to find out what this is and where we're going to take it.
Okay.
Because I've learned some things
And
that's going to take you as well.
well, that's a
It's-
cool goal because you know that's the one of the struggles of this podcast is we can set goals all we want to, but at the end of the day, we can't meet any of those goals without holding each other accountable.
Right.
And two, working very closely as a team because, well, when it takes two people sitting down talking for something to happen, then really you can't move forward on anything without us doing it together.
Completely.
And that takes holding both parties
Right.
accountable. That means that if you're working on something and you need my help with it, but I haven't been around, that's hitting me up and being like, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
I need you here to do this. Step up, get here so we can continue getting to where we both want to be.
Right.
And that's cool. I like that kind of a goal because it challenges you to also challenge other people while you're challenging yourself. That was really complicated, but
Well put.
yeah.
And you just stated that obviously you and I aren't going to get off the hook as far as holding each other accountable.
No.
But I'm damn sure going to do my best to hold everyone listening accountable as far as getting you more in tune, because that is a huge catalyst to this podcast and any podcast. Viewer feedback, audience interaction, that type of thing is what makes it, you
And
know. And
part of that goal is we're going to do a better job of reaching out to you.
yeah,
And part of it's going to be we're going to push you more to give it back to us. So you're
Oh, yeah.
probably going to get irritated because you're going to hear it a lot more coming forward.
right.
and
But I'm
we're
going to
gonna-
do what I need to on my end to get it done.
To give you the ability to give us that feedback because we have been slacking a little bit on that. We've been slacking on reaching out and slacking on giving you the ability to get back to us. We've got a couple platforms people can reach out to us on, but
Right.
we might hit a glow up with our platform outreach. I got some inner workings for us to
Absolutely.
work on.
The motivation's starting to wear off from that new experience. So
Yeah.
now it's time to really kick into that drive. We
Yeah.
got this.
I like that, man.
So now, what's yours? What you got? Throw it at me.
So this is something I want to do for a pretty good amount of time. It's something that I've talked about a couple times with a couple different sets of people. But so for those of you who don't know, the year before Mom died was the first year that her and Dad and Alex and Paula ran the mud run. And everybody loved it. It was an awesome experience. We were going to try to do it, and it just didn't work out for us to build a second team for like me and you and Gary to do it. Yeah. But they had an awesome time. And so her dying that next year was like, this was something she really enjoyed doing. And so we're going to keep that kind of going this next year, and we're going to run in memorial.
Right.
So me and Dad and Alex and Gary were like, we're going to do the freaking mud run this year. No training preparation. And it's not like it's a crazy long race. I think it's a 5K.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what the mud run is, it's kind of like a Tough Mudder Spartan race kind of deal. They set up a course that's muddy and nasty and kind of get after it.
And you go play.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So we went out there, and, Dad just doesn't breathe well, and nor had we done any training, so no one was really ready to just up and run it.
Yeah.
I was probably the most prepared to do that, given that I had just spent multiple years at a fairly high cardiovascular training, but I stuck with everybody. It wasn't like we're running as a team. It ain't like I just want to go blister the course and finish by myself. So
purpose behind it.
Man, we probably walked 2/3 of that thing, no lie. I mean, like, we walked a bunch of it. But I loved the challenges. Like, they were so much fun. I would go through the challenges really fast, and then we would walk to the next one as a group, and then I would just go do my thing through the challenge because it's awesome, and then I would just stand there and wait till everybody got done, and we'd walk to the next one. But I really enjoyed that experience, and I've really, really, really wanted to do a Spartan race since then. So I'm going to challenge myself and you and Bobby, for me, you and Bobby, to sign up for a Spartan race as a team. I don't care where it's at. I don't care if you want to travel somewhere sunny and beautiful like the beach or something to do it. We can find one around here.
And just go kick some ass.
I don't care. And this is the smart goal setting. I don't want to go out and us set a time that we want to finish it in. I just want to go and do it.
I just want to go compete. If you want to hear my side of it, honestly.
I love it because there's like, and honestly, if for anyone that hasn't done them, they're a ton of fun. If you go out there not giving a shit about your time, and you want to walk the whole thing, the course is a freaking blast to be on. It's muddy, it's nasty, it's super challenging physically, but man, if it isn't fun to go get dirty and splash around in the water and the mud and do CrossFit type workouts while you're also running fairly long distances for Spartan races. But God, man, they're fun as shit. Climbing ropes and jumping through mud and just getting out there and getting dirty. Like, yeah, it's fun to do. So
sounds like summer of childhood.
Yeah, summer shenanigans for children that we as adults now pay lots of money to go and
hitting that a damn shame.
Run 13 miles.
Can I pay you to go get dirty?
But so it's a lot of fun. That's something I want to challenge us to find a race, book it as a team,
and finish it,
and follow through with finishing that race. I don't care if we all break down halfway through and just want to give up, but we walk the rest of it. And hell, I don't care if we were to walk around challenges, but I want to walk through the fucking finish line of that race. Good deal. We'll sit down and talk more about that. I'll keep everybody updated on when we find a race and what the date will be, but I'd really like to get the ball rolling on that. I'm challenging ourselves to meet that.
I like it.
So you've heard our goals.
Right. So now it is your turn.
It is your turn, and if you have any goals that are weighing on you that you want some help at staying accountable on, or you want us to know about, reach out and let us know. I mean, I'd love to know what you guys are into. Maybe it's something we'd be able to try and broaden our scope.
Yeah. I'm all down for the interaction. Whatever you got, throw it at us.
This conversation was specifically about goals, but you will hear our updates in podcast following.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not something that's an objective, something that you can just do. A goal is long-term, no matter how short-term it can be. It's a long-term thing. There is a process to accomplishing something. So hopefully that after listening to this, you have a better understanding of how to go about things, not necessarily how to do things, but
how to
look at
go
them and
about
think about
doing
them.
them
Yeah, how
anyway.
about going about it's the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
Um,
We can't tell you how to succeed in your goals, but if we can help you get in the right direction, I mean, that's the best we can do for you. And I can tell you that we would be here to help you succeed further. If you found something that you're working towards and you're struggling with, reach out before you decide it's time to throw in the towel. Some outside eyes sometimes really help you to reinvent your drive and focus and get back on that horse if you're struggling with it.
And maybe just hold you a little bit accountable.
As the great Rambo 2 would quote, "How you live, John, day by day." That's how you got to take it, man, day by day. That's all we can do.
Couldn't agree more.
Well,
all right. Well, after 40 minutes of talking about goals, I'd say we pretty much wrapped up.
All right. Well, I enjoyed that one. That was a good time. So,
yeah.
We're
back into the swing of things.
I feel more accomplished after this one. And, thank you all for listening and for sticking with us through our little, honeymoon phase for recording. Now it's time to get down to the nitty gritty and kind of start to see where we're taking this thing.
Yeah.
So,
looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I will catch you guys in the next episode.
Awesome. Everybody have a kick-ass week. Take care.
Later.